Welcome to my science class. Today I am going to discuss the extra questions of chapter soil. First question is, if we add some dry soil to the water in a glass and stir it, bubbles are observed from the soil. Why? So if we see the composition of soil, soil consists of air, water, organic matter and minerals. So when dry soil is added in water in a glass and stir it, bubbles observed. These bubbles are produced due to the air present in between the soil particles. So in a glass, if we put some soil and we add water, these small air bubbles come out because soil consists of air, and this proves that soil consists of air. This experiment proves that soil consists of air. Now the next question. Find out the percentage of water absorbed by a given soil sample, where the weight of soil is 100 grams, initial volume of water is 100 ml and final volume of water left in the measuring cylinder is 70 ml. So it is given that weight of soil is 100 grams, initial volume of water in measuring cylinder is 100 ml and the final volume of water in measuring cylinder is 70 ml. So volume of water absorbed by soil is 100 minus 70, which is 30 ml. Now for finding out the percentage of water absorbed, the formula is water absorbed by soil divided by weight of soil into 100. So water absorbed by soil is 30 ml and weight of soil is 100 gram. It is already given. After dividing, it comes out to be 30%. So percentage of water absorbed is 30%. Now, why the uppermost horizon is generally dark in color? While seeing the soil profile, we can observe that the uppermost layer is dark in color. Why? Since the uppermost layer consists of humus. It is rich in humus and minerals. What is humus? It is the dark colored amorphous substance formed by dead and decaying matter, and this humus gives darker color to the uppermost layer. So the next question is, there is shimmering of air just above the soil during hot summer days. Why? So shimmering means the air shines with a slightly shaking light. So why it happens? We know that soil contains water, and due to sunlight, this water from soil begins to evaporate and turns into water vapors. This water vapor, when reflects the sunlight, appears as if it is shining, and hence the air above the soil makes the land look shimmery. Now the next question. There are two components of soil. What are these two components? So the two major components of soil are, first is the non-living components, and it consists of the weathered rock particles and the second is living components, which consist of the living organisms like the fungi, bacteria, worms, insects, etc. So the non-living components are called as the abiotic components and living components are called as the biotic components. How can a farmer convert acidic soil into neutral soil? The farmer can convert acidic soil into neutral soil by adding a small quantity of quicklime or slaked lime solution to the soil. So students, we have studied in the chapter acid, bases and salt that when an acid reacts with base, neutralization reaction occurs. So we are using the same neutralization reaction here, and quicklime or slaked lime is basic in nature. When they react with an acid, they neutralize the effect of acid, and we are using this phenomena or this process in our daily life. Now the next question is, the soil is said to be inseparable part of our life. Why? The soil is one of the most important natural resources. It is the uppermost layer of earth crust, which is blackish brown in color. And the major functions of soil are: it supports plant growth by holding the roots firmly, and it supplies water and nutrients to the plant. Secondly, it acts as a natural habitat for a number of organisms like the earthworm, fungi, bacteria, other insects, etc. Thirdly, it is also essential for agriculture, which provides us food, clothing and shelter for all. And it supplies water and nutrients to plants, as we have mentioned earlier. Therefore, we can say that soil is an inseparable part of our life. Without soil, life cannot sustain on earth. Now the next question is, a student visits two types of fields and observes that soil from field A has high percolation rate of water, while soil from field B has low percolation rate. In field B, paddy crop was grown, while in field A there was no standing crop. Can you name the two types of soils? So students, as we can see that in field A, the percolation rate was very high, and we know that percolation rate is very high in case of sandy soil and it is unfit for agriculture. So field A will be sandy soil, and in field B paddy crop is growing and it has very low percolation rate. So we know that clay soil has very low percolation rate, and for paddy we require a crop which can hold a lot of water, because waterlogged conditions are required for paddy crop. The soil in field A is sandy soil, while in field B soil is clay, which has low percolation rate and waterlogging is seen. Therefore, field A has clay soil. So the next question. The next question is, a man digging a pit found that he could dig with ease initially, but digging became difficult as he went deeper. Why? So the man digging a pit could dig with ease initially because of the presence of topsoil and subsoil. So this topsoil and the subsoil, it consists mainly of humus and fine soil particles. But as he digs deeper, he finds it difficult to dig as lower layers are made up of particles, partially withered rocks with cracks and crevices with bedrock. So in the lower layers, the weathered rock particles and bedrock is there, and that is why it is very hard to dig. Now the next question. Continuously waterlogged soils are disadvantageous for plant growth. Why? So roots, although they are underground, they possess living cells, and they also require oxygen for respiration and production of energy. They absorb this oxygen which is present in the spaces between soil particles. But in waterlogged soil, water occupies spaces between soil particles and pushes the oxygen out into the atmosphere. Thus, roots are deprived of oxygen, and this affects the plant growth. Now next question is it a good practice to remove grass and small plants that are growing in an open, unused field? No, it is not a good practice to remove grass and small plants growing in an open, unused field, because the plants cover the soil surface and their roots bind the soil particles. This helps in preventing the topsoil from being washed off during heavy rain, floods and winds. So we should not remove grass and small plants growing in an unused field, because it prevents soil erosion. In this way, soil erosion is prevented and topsoil is preserved for growing more plants. Now the question is, gardeners gently dig up the soil around the roots of garden herbs or plants frequently. Why? A gardener often gently digs up the soil around the roots of garden plants or herbs for the following reasons. Firstly, it enables easy root growth. Secondly, for easier percolation of water. Thirdly, for aerating the soil, enabling air to get into deeper layer of soil, and we know that plant roots also require air for their metabolic activities, and for removing the weeds. Digging the soil also remove the weeds growing around the plant. So these are the reasons due to which a gardener digs the soil around the roots of the plants. Now the next question. Why is soil erosion relatively less in dense forest as compared to barren open fields? So in dense forest, the tree cover prevents rainwater from directly falling on the ground or soil. Also, roots of the vegetation bind the soil particles and hold them together. As a result, soil erosion is minimized. But in barren open field, the soil is exposed to the falling rain. The soil particles become loose due to the impact of raindrops, and flow of water carries them away. The flowing water further erodes the soil surface, aggravating erosion. So it causes soil erosion. So the next question is, which soil horizon has a lesser amount of humus but more of minerals? And the answer is B horizon, or the subsoil. We know that the topsoil is rich in humus, while the B horizon or the subsoil, it has lesser amount of humus or organic matter, but it is rich in minerals. So student, that's all for today. These are the extra questions of the chapter soil. I hope you have understood the chapter properly. You enjoyed these extra questions and you have understood these questions properly. So thank you students.